earnings section of the statement, you will be able to view how much you have earned during the particular year. In unfortunate situations, sometimes your income does not get properly reported to Social Security, and this statement will show clearly if this is the case. Your reported earnings plays a critical role in how much and whether or not you are entitled to a short-term or long-term benefit. In this broadcast, we have shared with you three very important reasons for reviewing a contribution statement and how you can make the most of your annual statement. To supplement the contribution statement, it is equally important to keep payslips to act as a check and balance of the wage information recorded at Social Security. We encourage all employees and self-employed persons to visit their nearest Social Security office. Email us at customerservice@socialsecurity.kn or call direct or WhatsApp at 869-662-8476 or 668-2545 or 669-2545 to request yours today. While doing so, be sure to update your contact information, including your current address, telephone number, and email so that you can receive all correspondence sent to you. For more information, please feel free to contact our Corporate Communications Department at 465-2535 or 469-5245. That is all the time we have for this edition of Social Security 5. Until we come your way again, this is Beyond Basu, encouraging you to secure your future and know the status of your contributions.
To be sure of your benefits, sickness and maternity, I'll tell you about the rest of it. Survivors grant your spouse and kids get the best of it. Let me mention pension when you're 60.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
Morning, how are we doing on this lovely morning? We are now in the 6th month of the year, so we are halfway there. Wow, rhymes and all. Happy 2nd of June to my nephew over there in Florida, Jamal Davis. Happiest of birthdays to you, to all celebrating happy birthday. Just to remind those of you who are watching, we are simulcast on TVC channel 40. We are on Facebook as well as YouTube, and for those of you listening, and for those of you wishing to listen wherever you are, we are on WinFM 98.9. Just to remind you, the numbers you can reach us at are in the UK 0333 440065 1718 285 6984 or 1305 921 4619 or at our local number 466 0989. Quint, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Trying my best to be better than Sunday.
You know that statement, I'm going to make a comment about it as we go along. Trying your best to be better today than you were yesterday.
Yeah. Because we have to. I mean, we're not perfect. We're going to mess up, but at the least we can do is try to do something that we didn't do yesterday to make today better. Now, as we begin this morning on the local scene, I see the young gentleman that caused the accident in Frigate Bay. He has been arrested and charged. I think he's still being warded, but there was I guess because he caused the accident. But I heard he had a laceration to his head, his face, and he was complaining of back pains, and so I could only imagine. So I wish him a speedy recovery. They said he has to go before the license board too, so they're going to decide whether he loses his license or what, because I don't know the urgency of why he was trying to pass those vehicles, but
All in all, I think he can consider himself quite a fortunate young man.
yeah.
Because when you look at that, when I saw where the car ended up and how it ended up, the first thing that flashed in my mind was if the driver or whoever was in the car survived.
Yeah, because I want to believe and I hope, and he can one day correct me, I hope he was wearing his seatbelt, because I think if he wasn't, he would have been flung.
I think he was. Logically, could be he wasn't, but I think he was. The way the car spun over
Yeah.
numerous times,
That was a movie, huh?
he had to have been wearing his seatbelt, which was a good thing.
Yeah, a very, very good thing. And I learned just recently, I didn't know, that we had 9 St. Kitts and Nevis nationals return home under the Trump administration deportation regime.
Well, like you, I'm just learning it too, and I'm learning it from you.
So we're all in the learning stage on this
Yeah.
Monday morning. Yeah. As the Prime Minister say, enable Stringberry, yeah.
Yeah.
So, come back home, and even they have, as I mentioned before, they have the voluntary. They're asking you to voluntarily deport yourself, and if they think you're from a country that, how should I say disproportionate? Because I don't want to make people's countries look less than the other. But some people, they're giving you $1,000 US to go back home and start life with it. In some countries, that's not worth anything.
Yeah.
Because that's just what, 2650, 2700 here. That's not even a month's rent.
Well, it's better than nothing.
But how are you gonna start if you can't pay a month's rent?
Well, it's better than nothing.
Because that's what I saw. Folks were being given 1,000 US. Sorry.
So, suppose you have an account or monies, you don't get to pick them up. You don't get to.
Well, it doesn't seem. I don't know. I would like to know. What do they allow you to pick up before they let you go?
I would assume
Before they send
that
you out.
I would assume that somehow, if you have monies, you should get it, because if they're taking the time to give you some monies, I should think that
But
they
if
give
you're
you that
gonna
after
self-deport,
you.
right? Because
Yeah.
you get this money if you self-deport. You're not gonna get it if they catch you. They catch you, you go where you're from,
Okay.
or wherever they feel to send you. Because we see what they've done to some people that maybe don't deserve that kind of treatment. So once you come and you self-deport, as if they realize your situation and they give you that. So before you self-deport, how about going to the bank,
Yeah.
hoping you get your money gathered and nobody calls and say, oh, this person not from here, come there in the bank now.
Yeah.
Gather up all your monies, and then you leave.
Transfer your money before.
I was
you
just going to
leave.
say to because if they see you with
Yeah.
a certain amount, they might wonder what you're doing and
Yeah.
take your monies from you.
Yeah.
You end up with not even the $1,000. So just do what you have to do. Transfer your money to your country if you are, and
Yeah.
get home safely. But yeah, so we had 9 nationals that have been deported since the start of the year.
Okay.
So that proves that we don't have too many people running around over there.
Yeah, that kind of bodes good for us.
Yeah.
We
I s-
don't have too many delinquents out there.
Yeah,
Too many.
that's good. Because we
going-
shouldn't.
yeah,
Why
you
are we
know.
overstaying and having to hide and only being able to go from work to home? And you can't be out there because you're wondering who's watching you, who's going to report you. You can't tell people what you're doing. That's like, I had a story I was sharing where someone told me they were working out there with somebody's ID. So your name is Quinn. So you're working with Peter's ID. So I'm like, Peter, and you won't study me. That's not your name. And then eventually Dawn's like, oh my God, I'm Peter. Let me answer. So I says, human beings, boy, we take some serious risks with our lives.
You know.
But they got away with it, I guess. The Lord was on their side. But yeah,
We have a caller. Oh, we lost
I'm
that.
leaving. I'm coming back from whence I'm from.
We have a caller.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning to everybody.
Good
And
day.
greeting once more in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from the sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, let's all give God thanks for sparing us to see another Monday. First of all, I would like to say, second thing, I would like to say something that I wanted to say, my take on it, and I think it is biblical concerning the Christopher Harbour issue that is going on right now. Now, I see clearly, and I'm learning clearly more and more from the Word of God, why it says when you pick your leaders, make sure they're men who fear God, make sure that they're men who have a track record, let me put it that way, who fear God, a track record of men who hate bribes and that sort of stuff. Because the Bible says, bride blinds people. Bribes blinds people. And so these are the qualities that the Bible tells us in Exodus chapter 18, verse 21. Make sure whoever you pick as your leaders, they have a track record of these things. And I'm seeing the wisdom of the Bible more and more every day by the Spirit of God and the grace of God. Now, concerning the Christopher Harbor issue, I can't understand why, and as it has been mentioned, that somebody from overseas come in without any money, and you're going to give them loans to start up a business. The government, that is, whether you're going to give them the loans or secure the loans for them, or co-sign the loan for them, or whatever. I can't understand why government would do such unless there are other issues that we are not aware of, but can only get, that are also involved as well. Remember I said, the Bible says, those men who fear God, who have a track record of fearing God, hating bribery, and so on and so on. So only under one circumstance I can see where government, men in power would do such a foolish thing, very foolish thing. Maybe because of personal advancement. Now, also, if you provide a loan or co-sign a loan or whatever for somebody, and even on this scale with the government and the Christopher Harbor people, I would think, because I have heard of persons doing it to other persons as well who come for them to co-sign loans, that from the time you are not able to pay whatever the loan is for, becomes the property of the co-signer or provider of the loan. So if Quinn come to me to borrow a loan for, to co-sign a loan for a car, I'm going to make sure that I put in some legal arrangement that Quinn, from the time you cannot pay the loan, or if I'm graceful enough, from the time you cannot make your second payment, that is if I'm graceful enough for that, the car become mine. Even if you have a balance of 1 cent on it.
Greg, you're not showing me any sympathy whatsoever.
well, yes, of course. Yeah, I will still be your friend. But I'll be driving around in the car. But I can't understand somebody like me who ain't got no degree can figure out these things. And people who got doctorates and so on seem to have missed these things unless something else is involved.
You know, I spoke to that because I remember in one of our conversations I did say the fact that they were running up these debts, there should not have been any forgiveness in the first place. Let them die by their own sword. Let them put the noose and draw it tighter around their own necks. As they chalk up the debt, you make sure that it works in your favor. But it seems as if though our governments don't think that way.
Well, Quint, as I have just said, if I was in that situation in the government, I would have put in that loan from the time you paid on your first payment, the whole thing reverts back to government only. That is why I want to wait for them to be racking up no debt. I would already make sure I have in that arrangement. Which I wouldn't even give you a loan in the first, because when you come into my country for without money.
Well,
for me to
Good
give.
morning.
What about me people them don't know how long got to?
Yeah.
Me people them don't want to do business as well. So why can't put you a stranger in front of me people?
Yeah. Greg,
But
you
in
have
case-
another caller with you. Hello, caller.
Yes, good morning, Brother Quint. Good morning, Potencia. Good morning, Brother Greg.
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning,
I
sir.
will
Good
join
morning.
in by speaking to that
My brother.
concern that you have. Okay? But I'm going to open my statement by saying, and by the way, my name is Winston. Welcome. Thank you, Quint.
Yeah.
You said something in my head that I will actually continue to affirm. Now, my opening statement is a king or the citizens are not honored in any shape or form in its country when it come around improvement and betterment for their life moving forward. If anyone will go contrary to that, then hold me responsible for saying something so right, which I think is so wrong, which I think is right. Now, the Christoph Harbour thing. Yes, Greg, you are so right. You're going to tell me foreigners coming in and getting the privilege that we should be enjoy and that should have been the fruits of our labor. And in the case the government come from the people, of the people, and the government is the people, or are the people, if I should be corrected in grammar. Now, this is so wrong, because you're going to tell me Chili Bam Bam coming to St. Kitts and Nevis and try to make $1 out of 50 cents on our backs? And when should that be continue to prolong? The government should have done forfeit Christoph Harbour and Buddy Darby. Look what Buddy Darby do now. After 15 going for 20 years, probably more, he have such a chunk of money. And back in those days, 20 years ago, 17 million, I think, was a lot of money. And moving forward, everything gone up in value. And then he had to sell a part of that property to make money, and then to say that they're meeting part of the commitment that should have been done. Man, they should have let them bring in their money. Or have some kind of forfeit in some kind of timeline and take whatever. And that's it. End of story. But the government are partners with these people, and it's something more in it for them than what we don't know.
Caller.
Yes.
I've told you already, and I'm going to remind you again. You cannot make certain. Do not say the government are part of. Say it seems, or you wonder if the government is a part of. When you say the government is a part of, you're stating it as a fact.
Okay, Quint, I accept your correction. I remember I always stand for correction. Quint, you are inspiration to me and an instrumental. You could do it. But I guess you get my message. But correction, yes. But if I may continue, if I buy a car from you for X and X of money, until I pay you off for that car, you might allow me. I can't even drive that car, because from the moment I go to register the car is mine. So if I owe you, then I could say I don't owe you, because you give me the title. You let me go to the legalities to drive that car, and unless you have a lien on that. And the way Christoph Harbour perform in that, the question is, did the government have a lien on that property? Should there be any contraries to the deal? So whosoever cut that deal, made that deal, that wasn't ready yet. I will arrest there. Greg could come back in on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I ain't gone. I'll hold on. But
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, well, with all due respect, I could have barely hear what he was saying. But so I can't really respond to much of what he said, because I barely heard what he said. But let me say this, Quinn. No, the government came and said that they sold. Is the whole thing they sold, or just part
But
of it?
was Christoph Harbour ever owned by the government, though?
No, no.
Exactly. So I don't.
It was
No,
private.
Christopher,
They
I
were
might
they
not have
they
been-
they were partners in it,
was-
right?
It was private owners, and there
But
was
the
an
government
eminent
had
domain.
shares in it, didn't they?
No, no.
What?
Christopher Harbor was owned by private.
Yeah,
and
but the government.
did what you call did an eminent domain in the interest of in the interest of nationals. Remember the first build the Southeast Peninsula? I was there, physically working as a surveyor.
But
I'm
it
not a
says it was
surveyor,
a
but-
joint venture with the Darby family.
But what I'm trying to say,
St. Kitts and
the
Nevis
land
were
was
shareholders.
the land was privately owned, and the government get involved by evoking eminent domain. You must know what eminent domain is. Look it up. Yes, and that's how the land was acquired. Okay, but it was all for that investment with Buddy Daddy. And
Look,
other
look,
investors.
look. I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know what the ramifications of the whole deal was. What I do know is that the recent sale had to do with the marina.
Yes.
Okay, and you're gonna have to let me see, 26. You have 4 more minutes before the next program, so bear that in mind.
Okay, Quinn, I will cease my continuation of any more
Okay.
utterance.
Okay.
Yeah, Quinn, let me say this quickly as well. Now, like I said, I understand the government was responsible in one way or the other for whether consigning it, giving it to them or whatever. All I'm saying is that I can understand, unless something else is involved, why they didn't make an arrangement. If the people then couldn't pay for it, it go back to government ownership. But what I'm also going to say, Dr. Drew said that that a sale was made on the marina, okay?
Yeah.
My question to him would have been, well, Dr. Joe, how could they sell the marina when they ain't pay off for everything? Okay? That'd be my question. How on earth could they sell off whatever and then pay up and everything? And not only that, let's say I was elected and I made this nonsense. You know what I would have been doing? I would have said, okay, you owe this? Well, we're going to take this part of the business, the marina, and I'm going to make sure I take the best part. So as you owe more, I take more.
Greg, I hear what you're saying, but you would have had to be privy to the original contract, and I did see the original contract. It was shown to me by Dwyer Estefan when he used to come here and do a program, and the original contract, the way it was written, it gave the people who were developing the Christoph Harbor almost, and I use the word almost very cautiously, almost exclusive rights to do whatever they wanted to do.
Well, Quint, let me put this in question, and you should be able to reach the line. Number one, this was done to finals, not even to the local. This privilege was given to. This was given to finals who come in without money. This kind of thing, Quint, is not done in a vacuum. There's more to this in the background than me and you could only suspect. Okay? This was not done in a vacuum because it don't make no sense unless something else is in the background. So, like I said, this was not done in a vacuum. Use your sense, try to reason out what I'm trying to imply. Okay, Quinn, thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean.
All discountable items. Yes! 25% off Builder's Paradise. Already low everyday prices. From power tools to paint, lumber to lighting and more. It's all at Builder's Paradise, and it's all on sale. Show Dad some love for the gear he wants at everyday low prices you love. But don't wait. The sale runs for 3 days only. Thursday, June 12th, Friday, June 13th, and Saturday, June 14th. Father's Day weekend only at Builder's Paradise, where big deals for Dad and everyday low prices will all come together. Happy Father's Day from Builder's Paradise.
Let TDC Financial Services help you go for your goals. Whether you're thinking of taking that grand vacation, down payment on a house, higher education, TDC Financial Services has various plans that will allow you to go for your goals. Choose from the Accumulator Plus, Investment Starter Plan, and Fixed Deposit. Ready to go for your goals? Visit us at TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea, and it's time for a traffic talk. In studio with us, I have Constables Bell and Nisbet. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome back.
Good morning, good morning.
How was your weekend?
Busy.
Boy, I was just hoping to say incident-free, but we're not hearing. Before we started the program, I was having a little chit-chat with Constable Bell, and I was telling him about the accident in Grenada, where someone's vehicle ended up in a house, and that person decapitated themselves. Their head was on the roof of the building, and when I look at the amount of accidents we're having, not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, but in islands like Grenada and Dominica, it's like nobody's behaving when it comes. Yeah. Because how the vehicle went into the house. Oh gosh, self-decapitation. That must have been a sick death. So his head is on the roof of the house. The vehicle's there. The rest of his body's in it. And then I just saw something in Barbuda again, where it looks like a young lady was thrown from a car. Looks like she was coming on the roof of the house. The vehicle's there. I just saw something in Barbuda again. Looks like she was coming back. Sickening.
Just to ask you, what do you think was the
rush?
The major cause of that accident?
I'm sure it's speed.
Okay.
I'm definitely sure it's speed, and just like the one we had in Frigate Bay.
Oh boy.
Oh my God! And I saw the person that caused it. He got charged as well, but he's probably still wanted. As I said, may he get bought soon. But I don't know. We're not listening. We come every week and
I'm glad a
preach.
child was not in that vehicle.
He was wearing a seatbelt, right?
I can't.
Because
I
hope he, because that was like a Hollywood. I pray and hope. As I said, when you get better, please let us know if you were wearing your seatbelt, so you can tell people how it saved their life, and you can also be an advocate in telling persons to be mindful. Because that's a 20-mile area, right? Be mindful how they drive over there.
Yes, but not only that, persons are not supposed to be overtaken by junctions, especially when the vehicle ahead is moving.
My gosh.
Persons, when making a turn, they should indicate. However, if they don't, that doesn't give you a right to overtake by the junction still.
No, a lot of crazy things happen over that hill and that area, and I'm like, the police need to be there all the time for us to behave ourselves. All right, gentlemen. I won't take up too much more of your time complaining and trying to make people do right by you. What is our topic for today?
Okay. Good morning, Constable Bell here, along with Constable Nisbet. Today, he's the lead for the topic again. He tried to put the two topics last week, but it would have been too much. So today we'll be talking about the number plates.
Okay.
And there are different offenses that can stem from just the number plate. So I will let him start, and I will just tag him.
Okay.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm reading the regulation 4 of the traffic laws, right? And if you want to look it up, you can look it up on the government website. And it shows a diagram of the license plate, that you should have.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't show anything but what should be on the license plate. Right? So each plate shall be rectangular and bear upon it an index mark of a letter, and shall also have a separate number assigned to that vehicle by the licensing officers, where the index mark and the number shall be arranged in conformity with the arrangement of the letter and figure shown in the diagram. Right? The diagram shows a rectangular box with just the number and the letter. Right? So the letters in it are CD, right? CD in case of diplomatic vehicles. That's what CD is for. Any license plate that you see marked CD and the number, that's for diplomatic vehicles.
Chinese diplomat.
Right? Okay. G, in the case of government-owned vehicles, with exception of unmarked vehicles. Right? So any national security vehicles will mark, or government vehicles will mark a G on it. Right?
What vehicles would be unmarked that we may not know of? Because somebody might call in a vehicle that's unmarked that belongs to the highest authorities.
Some vehicles, it is not just national security. Some vehicles are assigned to probably supervisors or persons who would have to be active on the road, whether on call or stuff like that, so they go home with the vehicle.
Okay.
Or if it's to deter the public from knowing, hey, this is an actual police vehicle coming, or stuff like that, they would have private plates on them.
Okay.
But if in the registration it would show that it's owned by the government.
Okay. All right, got you.
Yes. For example, PB1. PB1, that is the Commissioner of Police vehicle, but it doesn't say G.
Okay.
But in the system, it will show that it's owned by the government and assigned to the police department.
Okay, we have the license plate H, HA, R, RA, T, and TA in the case of public service vehicles.
Okay.
Right? That is the hire bus, the taxis, the rentals. Those are vehicles that anybody uses. And anybody uses. Right? And then you have P, PA, PB in the case of ordinary motor vehicles and unmarked vehicles. Right? Just like the explanation Constable Bell gave, you have PB with the commissioner vehicle is PB. It is unmarked.
Okay, so just to add to the letters for the number plates, each letters have colors to them. Okay, for the PB, the PA, the P, which are for private vehicles or unmarked vehicles, the writing should be white with a black background. For the government vehicles, the writing is black with a white background. For rentals, the writing are white with a red background. Taxi, the writing is black with a yellow background. For the H, which is the passenger bus, the H or the HA, the writing is white with a green background. GT, that is the guided tours, the coasters and stuff like that, black writing with a pink background. And for the city, it's yellow writing with a blue background. Bear in mind, after the writing, the background should just be the plain color. You should not have any border color around it, any writing around the border, or any writing on the number plate. The number plate should just have the letter, which is C or P or G, with the numbers.
sort of fine line around the numbers. Like there's a fine white line that goes around some of the numbers on the license plate. That shouldn't be there.
If it's the same, if the letter is supposed to
I
be
mean,
white,
the number in a style.
No, okay. So some of them actually have the number regular, just like no bubble numbers, nothing like that. It's just a regular number written on. It's on black, but then it has this nice slim white border on the black black end.
we could use our discretion with that.
Okay.
It's not anything of any style. It's just like a border for the to actually show the letter and the number properly.
Because I think it draws you to that. Because
Yes.
the fact that I can see that and then I
Yes,
see the
it
numbers
highlights,
like,
it
right
highlights
there
the
popping out,
writing
yeah.
better. But what we are trying to run from is the lot of style that person. Sometimes you wonder what font is that, because you see them make the the number plates and you want to know, is that a 1 or is that a I? You know, so the persons who issue the number plates, they know.
But why are they still even giving the persons the choices? And when the people choose them, they're going to say, oh, but he chose that font. I just made it for him. So then I think they themselves should be included in the payment that that person has to pay when they are caught.
I wouldn't get into that.
Okay.
Because it's the same as the person is doing the tinting, they know the tint limit. But if
Well,
I come and
everybody
I
should
say
pay, and
I
then
want,
maybe they'll behave.
that is something you guys could suggest to the higher ups. We'll let consumer this with continue.
All right.
Yes. The letters and figures must be 3.5 inches high.
Okay.
Right? Every part of the letter and figure must be 5/8 of an inch broad. Right? And the total width of the space taken by every letter and figure, except in the case of the figure 1, must be 2.5 inches.
Okay.
Right? So each letter, right, must be 2.5 inches apart.
Okay.
Right?
No.
That
Caller, good morning. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Constituency. It's good that the traffic department have come forward, to demonstrate the different colors and what plates. But I think they should have something here to display to show the exact size of the numbers, whether the front plate or the back plate.
Well,
because a lot of vehicles there have these disco-colored number plates. And I blame the traffic department because all plates have to go to the traffic department when you have a vehicle getting registered with a new vehicle. The plates go to the traffic department. The traffic department, I believe, have seen those plates, and maybe they approve them. I don't know. I'm just speculating because I can't believe that all these different colors plates up and down the place. You see more and more, so which means the traffic department is not doing the work. Size of the number. I see some little numbers look like, I can't even describe how they look. Even when you're close up, you can't even see them good. So I hope the traffic department will take steps to enforce the law when it comes to those things. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution, caller.
To answer the caller, we do inspect new vehicles that come into the Federation at the traffic department. However, vehicles that are already on the Federation were already registered and are being relicensed, they go to inspection places. We educate the inspection officers as to what they need to do and what is conforming with the law. Okay? However, they do
We're different.
They do their inspection and they upload it to our system. Now, I would just give my opinion, which is we would not be able to see all the inspections at once to say, hey, this color is not the right color, what's not. Okay, so we give the onus on the inspection persons. However, if we do see a vehicle with a color that is not conforming with the law, we go into our system and we check that inspection. We see who did the inspection and we have a conversation with the person asking why was this passed when it was not the color to conform with whatever number plate it should be. So to the call, I wouldn't say that the traffic department is not doing their job, but we cannot be out there inspecting all the vehicles in the federation.
But you know, it's so funny, right? That everybody like to blame the police, right? The police ain't doing this and the police ain't doing that. And then when the police actually go and do the job now, that they're making noise about, they're making noise say that we are harassing them, right? That is the funny part about it here, right? We go on the road every day, every week, we do VCPs and stuff. You go call and say, oh, they're harassing us, they're sending out message. The police over there don't go to there. So we ain't catching the people them who breaking the law because you notifying them that the police is out there doing the work that you want us to do.
Yeah.
Right? But you're still going to notify them to let them know. Don't go over so because they're over there. They'll make you take off your license plate, they'll make you do all kind of things. Right? That is the funny part about it, but we gotta sit down and blame the police and say, the police ain't doing this and the police ain't doing that. But when we are trying, right, you're defeating the purpose by informing them that we are there, right? And that's the point that we're trying to make, right? If you want us to do our work, let us do our work, right? You can blame us when we don't, but when we're doing our work, stop trying to defeat the purpose, right? And let us do our work. Because you is the same people going to call and complain, this person is doing that, this person is doing that, right? And then you want us to actually go and deal with the person when you're helping the person get away from us, right? So people need to come better than that, right? When the police doing the work, apply the police for doing the work. When they ain't doing the work, make noise. But don't try contradict each other. It's either you want us to do our work or you don't want us to do our work.
And some of the issues we have, especially with number plates, are either the light in the rear, not illuminating the number plate, so you're driving from behind or you can't see what vehicle is in front of you. Sometimes it's that when you get the registration paper, if you watch carefully, the registration paper indicates where your number plate should be based on the inspection. Now, there are some vehicles, for instance, one of the E-Zone KDP vans. They were built in such a way where the number plate is assigned, it's a bit to this side, but you could see it on the bumper that's where the number plate should fit. Now we use our discretion and we make exceptions for those vehicles because that's where the number plate is assigned to be when it was brought in. But if you check the registration paper, it says front and rear center of the vehicle. Now you're gonna see persons driving the bumper, the entire center has either nothing, or the center has a design plate and the real number plate is on this side. And it's not just on this side, but it's on the side and tilted horizontally at a 45-degree angle. They don't even have it on the side and the normal. They have it tilted in all kind of different styles. Some persons put the number plate right on the corner of the front bumper. So it's like whoever is on the left or the right is who is going to see it, not who is in front. And the space is there allotted for the number plate and they're not putting the number plates there.
Okay. Caller, go ahead. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Good morning, citizen concerned citizen.
Okay.
I'd like to know, why is it that these young people keep driving around on these pickup truck and the tailgate is very dangerous? Sometimes I have to tell them, mister, you could please sit down. If them driving in a truck and the truck full of brakes and they fall back, something coming behind and clean them up. Who responds for that? And I need to enforce it. Is very, even the prisoners, they must be doing it, miss, and I do not like to see it. I keep telling them, sometimes I tell them, go down, sit down. They say, okay, they're okay. You know, so I need to enforce these laws because I don't know why I'm going to blame whether the driver or the passengers, but it's very dangerous, and I need to enforce these laws. Okay, and that's all I have to say. I don't like to see it. It's very dangerous, and if three of them sitting on the tailgate and one go over, all of them going over because one of them going to hold each one. Okay, and that's my concern to them. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for your contribution, caller.
A valid point, real valid point. However, we have instructed drivers, especially persons who have pickups that have, contractors who do construction and stuff like that, would be transporting the workers and the equipments, to have something modified, a seating modified to the back of that truck so they can be properly seated and can have a stable grip. Okay? If we see persons while we're on the road and they're sitting on the railing, we ask them to sit flat in the vehicle. However, in an unfortunate situation that something happens though, the driver is the one who is in control of the vehicle. He should instruct whoever occupants in or on his vehicle where they should be seated.
Mm-hmm.
So the onus is on the operator for that vehicle to ensure that his passengers are safe.
And if you say when you see situations like that, you speak to the driver, you stop the vehicle.
We stop the vehicle and we ask the person who's in the back. If they refuse, so we ask them to get off.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Okay.
That is why the police itself started that process. Mm-hmm. And the police, if you check the tactical unit pickups, they have in a bench now.
A bench, yeah.
Right? Because we started the process because we realized people keep saying the police doing this and the police doing that, because
we were victims of those unfortunate situations.
Wow.
We are big people, and somehow we tend to always watch somebody else and what they're doing. So that is why the police ensure that they did it, so you can see that the police is doing it, so you can follow the trend. Right?
Okay.
Another concern, especially with the number plates, and I'm going to stress on it because I find it to be ridiculous. Now, modifications to vehicles, what I would say, tolerate them for car show purposes and stuff like that. You know, you got car show, you want to make sure your vehicle different to everybody.
Yeah.
Now, we have realized, and we are stepping down on it, that persons are adding a mount to the area where the number plate should be. Now, they place the number plates on the mount, but they have them tilt at a 90 degree. So the number plate is facing the sky. So you're driving behind and you're just seeing the inch of that material that is used to make the number plate. The edge, you're just seeing the edge. You're not seeing the number plate because they have it on the mount and the number plate is tilted in the air.
You know, you spoke about that, and I actually saw one exactly the Monday afternoon.
Yes,
and I'd be like, wow, they do exist.
Yes, yeah, and persons are doing it, and you know, when you stop them and you talk to them, they say, oh, my number plate front and rear center, yes. But is it conforming with the law? Can we see it?
You know, I remembered when you spoke about that the last time, and for the life of me, I can't understand why you would. The number is supposed to be seen.
They're claiming they don't want nobody.
Imagine I can see the tilt and not the number.
Exactly.
And the tilt was even getting rusty too. So I was like, oh my God, no, Officer Bell, we just talked about this, and look, I'm seeing it now this afternoon. I was actually shocked.
I mean, when I heard the officers speak to that, I was in my mind, I was thinking, I mean, what kind of crazy world are we living in?
I saw it for myself. You know, once you become aware of something, then you see it, because you don't notice it when you don't know. But I was shocked.
So here's an instance. You're approaching someone, right? The person is looking at your vehicle. They can't identify it. You hit the person, and then you move away. You drive off. The person can't say what what the number was, you know.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why your number should be
Yeah.
visible to the public, because if something happens, that person's supposed to be able to say, hey, well, PB 840 hit me and turned off, because I
Yeah.
could have seen the number plate. All they would say, a vehicle hit me. When I look up, I can't even see the number plate because they got the number plate tilted in the sky.
Yeah. Nonsense. When the police see that, I don't think you should be sympathetic whatsoever.
Oh, because you could see that's blatant and negligent. And sometimes even, and I don't want to be biased, even government vehicles we have to be stopping at times because they are not conforming with the law when it comes to the number plate. I had to call several places because I am here giving a ticket to somebody, and here comes a government vehicle coming up the road with the same offense.
So you gotta stop that one too.
I have to stop that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
you
to
have
lead by
to.
example.
I have to stop that one.
Yeah. Consistency.
And if
Yeah.
I am going to stop that person and warn them, I have to warn the civilian also.
Yeah.
I will not give the civilian a ticket and warn the government vehicle.
I like that. I like that principle right there. Makes plenty sense because we have to lead by example.
What goes for one goes for all.
And sometimes it's not, and I don't want to throw the blame on the government because sometimes it's not the government. But as I said, sometimes vehicles are assigned to certain people and they misuse the authority that they have. One, you're working in a department that has no reason for your vehicle to be exceeding the tint limit. But because you have a G on it, you want to tint it black. No permission was granted for you to have that tint on the vehicle or
Yeah,
anything,
it's a G.
but you work out, it have on a government plate, so you're going to tint it black. No. The tint law go for every vehicle and every person in the federation.
Regardless of your status.
Regardless of your status. Regardless of your status. So persons like to say, how come the police enforcing this and other police officers? We still giving police officers tickets. Sometimes we make conflict amongst ourselves. Sometimes we out there and you see our colleagues come in and it's not that you fear dealing with them because they can't do you anything.
Yeah.
But it's just that you know the risk that it's going to cause, and then sometimes you ask your supervisors to deal with them and all, because police officers come in and the public are seeing. So we're not going to be out there stopping a vehicle and because this person passing and we know them and there's police or government, we're going to say, hey, go ahead. No. Otherwise, we are not going to look professional
I like
in
that.
the road.
No blie.
No blie.
Yeah.
I like that.
But if we give a blie, we have to give others the blie too.
Yeah.
So
You have a call.
one for one and none for all.
I like that. Caller, go ahead. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Yes, Consentia. I like the way the police officer is presenting themselves there. Okay, the point with government vehicles. This is a suggestion. Whenever you find a vehicle not confined with the laws of the traffic, do they warn the person who's driving and make a note of the number and find out which department it belongs to, and the head of that department make sure that they get the vehicles road-worthy condition? Here is my suggestion. What the police should do, they meet a vehicle with the breaking the traffic laws, make a note of it, speak to the driver, let the driver know, listen, whoever is in charge there, let them know they have to get this rectified. The next person that is driving this vehicle with that defective condition, I'm going to ticket them. Right. Let us try that and see how far they'll get with that. Thank you.
Well, the caller has left, but you see, the police made it clear. He said, suppose he stopped a civilian, he's given them a ticket. Then here comes this. So what are you supposed to do? Warn them and say, next time I see you when he's giving the civilian a ticket? No. Consistency is, is for all. Maybe, perhaps, if the government vehicle was on its own, the police was on, he could use his discretion. But he can't use that discretion in a situation where he's giving one a ticket and he's going to tell you go.
Because I'm going to reach on the media
Yeah,
in less than a minute.
Sometimes what we do also, if we're going to give you, use our discretion, right? We have a notice of a notice that we serve, so you bring your vehicle for us to inspect, right? So if we're going to give you a chance, sometimes we even give you, even though we give you the ticket, right? We give you the notice and you bring your vehicle on that specific date and time, because we will put on the date and time on it, and ask you to bring it to inspect, right?
What I have done also, because sometimes persons buy vehicles, especially women, and they don't go into depth into making sure everything is conforming. They just want to make sure the vehicle is driving and they move. And sometimes persons can lie so good, but sometimes you feel the genuine concern from persons, not just women, but I'm just using women because it's mostly women balling, that they don't know this, they don't know that. But you issue them the ticket. Me, and I could only speak for my actions. I issue them tickets and also give them the notice for them to show me for inspection that they have fixed the issue. If that person genuinely come back within a day and show me, hey, I fixed the problem, everything is good, I will cancel that ticket. I will cancel that ticket. Even though the person do it, and if I don't cancel the ticket, I'm still within my right. But from my discretion, if I gave you the notice to say bring your vehicle for inspection so I can ensure that you fix the offense, and you do it, I don't have to be running you down and what's not. Hey, I would withdraw the ticket, depending.
And that is good because it encourages the individual and others to conform to.
Because you see, sometimes you don't want to. Even though our job is to enforce, you don't want persons to feel like you don't have a hat.
Yeah.
You don't have a hat, and because sometimes even some of my families may come and say, "Boy, I get a ticket," and in my mind I say, "Boy, I know if I get a ticket right now, I ain't got the money to pay that." So you feel a way for them. So but persons who are gonna be repeated offenders, you can't have no discretion with them. You can't have any discretion with them.
I was looking at something last night. In the U.S., this young woman, she was driving under the influence and she killed somebody. She got 5 years to that offense, right? She came back. She was 16 then. She came back out of prison. She has since killed somebody else, driving under the influence, and now she's going away for 67 years. This is in the U.S. And she's blaming it on everything, but they're being like, you got an easy way out, you got therapy, you did everything before, and you do the same. And it's funny that the drivers of these accidents hardly ever died, with the exception of that person in Grenada. But this is 2 lives now, so 67 for the second life.
Wow. That is a hard one.
That's a hard one, yeah. She's not going to get out till she's 90-something.
Your parents always tell you it's either you learn the easy way or you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
And some people only learn the hard way. Yeah. Right? And some people just deliberate with what they do.
Yeah. Right? 67 though.
But that's good. Constable Bell does give a lot of chances.
Right? Sounds like Constable Nisbet. We can't get it. No.
I'm not somebody that take excuses very easily.
Okay.
Right? People willfully does things.
People can be malicious.
And then when they see you, they tell you, I didn't know, but they willfully did it. Right? I could show you an example. The other day I was up by Premier Dental. A gentleman reversed out the parking lot and went to Avec direction, which in the road is a one-way you have to go to Washi direction.
Yeah.
Right? I stopped him and I said, sir, this road is a one-way. I wasn't in uniform or anything.
Yeah.
He said, yes, if you did see the commissioner or the GG doing this, would you stop them and tell them it's a one-way? Right? I taking a chance. Right? But if the police, they come up the road at the time, you know what he would have said? I didn't know right? I didn't know. But because you don't know me, I'm in plain clothes and the person don't know me, he say, oh, I know, I just taking a chance, right? But when you see me on the road in my uniform, you want to give me an excuse on why you did what you did, why I stop you, right? But you didn't know the other day that you willfully do it. So when I see you again, you think I can take that excuse again that you did not know?
You don't mess with Constable Nisbet.
Right? No, but you see what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
If you actually do not know something, I could genuinely give you a chance, right? But some people just deliberately with it, right? They know it's not supposed to happen, but they're going to still do it. And as soon as you catch them, I didn't know. It's the first time. Stop lying. Just tell the truth and hold the ticket, right? That's all.
I like that.
Just tell the truth and hold the ticket, right? It's up to me if I want to give you the ticket or not. But lying to me is not going to help you, right?
You know, based on dealing with traffic. I'm in traffic since 2018 actually, and we have one of the cheapest ticket fees in the world, you know.
Oh, for
compared to America and other places. When you give a tourist a ticket here, they'll be like, how much is it? Like, you say either 150 or 100. Oh, that's cheap. 150 US, right? They talk in US.
They don't understand it.
They don't understand it's easy. So it's way cheaper still.
Yeah.
So, but when our fees increase now, the persons complain. But these fees are to try and deter persons from the continuous
we have to say try because they're still doing it even though the fees increase.
Instead persons take it as a warning. They try to find a loophole to fit through. So instead of them trying to conform with the law, they're going to find a next way to beat the system again. So no matter what the system imposes, there's somebody there to oppose it.
Find a way out.
Yeah, we are 7 minutes over time, so.
Well, I just want to say, take your time on the road, right? Stop lying to the police. Just tell the truth. If we're going to give you the chance, we're going to give you the chance. Just tell the truth. Because sometimes we can tell when you are lying. Right? Some people have a tell when they're telling lies. Right? We know when you are lying. We know when you are genuine and we know when you are lying. Stop lying to the police. If you're going to get the ticket, just pay the ticket.
Just hold the ticket.
Right? Hold the ticket and pay the ticket. That's all. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I just want to say 46 tickets were issued for the year for number plates not conforming, which is the number plates on the side and stuff like that. 66 tickets were issued for no light to illuminate the rear number plates.
Okay.
I want to say the number plates, you can get a number plate for as cheap as less than $50 easy, and each ticket is $100. So let's see what they're really trying to do. If they're trying to pay ticket, or if they're trying to conform with
the law. Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for another educating traffic talk, and have a great week. And I hope we all behave so you don't have much work to do this week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
This Father's Day weekend at Builders Paradise, we've got big deals for dad and low prices for all. Yes, we've got a massive 25% off store-wide on all discountable items. Yes, 25% off Builders Paradise, already low everyday prices. From power tools to paint, lumber to lighting and more. It's all at Builders Paradise, and it's all on sale. Show dad some love for the gear he wants at everyday low prices you love. But don't wait. The sale runs for 3 days only. Thursday, June 12th, Friday, June 13th, and Saturday, June 14th. Father's Day weekend only at Builders Paradise, where big deals for dad and everyday low prices for all come together. Happy Father's Day from Builders Paradise.
Get ready for the biggest Father's Day weekend sale ever. From June 12th to 14th, Hostel's Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise are bringing you incredible savings and a special men's health and wellness fair. Take 25% off at Hostel's Furniture and Appliances, plus double cash back for free groceries with every higher purchase. It's the perfect time to upgrade your home and fill your pantry. And that's not all. Get 25% off store-wide at Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers and Builders Paradise on all discountable items. On Saturday, June 14th, don't miss our men's health and wellness fair at Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Get free diabetes, HIV, blood pressure checks, plus customer giveaways and so much more. Celebrate that this Father's Day weekend only at Hostel Furniture and Appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Hostel's Building and Nevis Centers, and Builders Paradise. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea, and as we continue along, please, I admonish you, Troy admonish you, the officers admonish you, please be careful on the road, be courteous, be kind, just follow the rules and avoid giving away your money, please. As they said, it's all gonna go up. You don't want to be paying or losing unnecessary monies for not following the law. Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island Tea.
Yes, good morning, Cortencia. You know, by the way, I like your voice, and you have a voice of capturing people's mind.
Thank you.
Listen, Nick, I want to ask you a question, Cortencia. I want to ask Quint a question also. Cortencia. Yes, Cortencia.
I'm listening.
You know the scandal. You're aware of the scandal with the CBI, right?
No.
You know of the madness that is involved. It was meant to be good because it's our patrimony. Right, let me turn down this thing here. Sorry. Now, if I were to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask you a direct question.
Okay.
Did you participate in selling any passport?
I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Did you participate in selling CBI passport?
No, sir.
Okay, hold on. Not going further. I want to ask Quint the same question. Okay, I hope you're not mad with me to ask you that question.
No.
Because, do you know whether you do or do not? Okay? And I ask you that question, the listeners who are listening, just by mentioning your name into that, it's a tangled web. You could be looked at. Somebody asked Hortensia or Quint if they sold passport. And remember, in people's mind, that is our patrimony, and the thing is, it didn't work out for our benefit when it should have. Okay? Now, if I were to ask a lawyer, because from what I understand, I believe all the lawyers in St. Kitts, most of them, sold the passport. And who could have stepped forward knowing what is happening today to explain this? They heard something was going on wrong. They was aware of that because of Philip Martinez. Okay? And see what going forward. So corruption is really revealing itself moving forward with other, even different issues. And it makes me mad. It makes people mad because we ain't benefit nothing. Only the elite, only the educated are the lawyers, or probably could be doctors. But do you think you clear yourself, Potentia, by answering that and no further explanation? But all those who really are involved, if they say no, and the list, because I got the list, but I ain't going to call no name yet. I really got the list, you know, Potentia. But I got the big fish. I don't really care about the small fish. And the big fish are participating in our election coming up. And they are corrupt, and I stop using the word recycle politicians. Thief or thief. Let me go and think it's rare. Thief. I ain't forget them dialects. Okay? And they ain't gonna like that because they don't want nobody to know. But you see what happened now? The light comes, the darkness comes to light. And if anyone sold the CBI passport, they should have the dynamic minds to pull out or speak out. And none of them spoke out. Okay? So all of them are liable with some kind of explanation, and they're not excused. I want all who involved, if they're running for office, ignorance is no excuse to the law. And last but not least, Quincy Hodder and Cecil Hamilton, Saturday. My vote right now is the first time I heard him, the first time I be aware of him, and I was impressed. And first of all, I beg to move in advance. Cecil Hamilton be the next Attorney General for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Cecil, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I anticipate meeting with you. Because under my watch and my administration, regardless of how I find myself by the people's consideration, I will vote for him to be Attorney General. And I said it, and I'm not going to change it. Thank you for hearing me. Bye for now. Others can come in. I open.
Sorry about that. I thought you had finished your statement. Hello, caller.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Quint, man. How you doing today, man? Good morning to you and the listeners home and abroad. And good morning to Cartesia as well there. Look,
good morning.
In the studio. Yes, if I may, man, get back in on this Christoph Harbor stuff. You know, I'm going to say it loud and clear. I'm from a village named Cotton Ground, and my name is Burl Jones, B-U-R-L Jones. And it's not a coincidence that my village is called Cotton Ground. We all know the history by now. That village got the name from those colonial masters who was whipping our backs to cultivate that staple crop named cotton and other crops such as sugarcane, tobacco, and whatever else our forefathers did back then. This was an era they called slavery, and the colonial masters reaped so much money out of our island and the rest of the Caribbean islands, and that was that. But guess what? We rolled forward. We come upon the era they call the CBI program era. And guess what? The CBI program, the era of the CBI program was just such a slavery because our money keep going out of the country. During slavery, a S load of money left the Federation. St. Kitts and Nevis was so much making so much money to these colonial masters and the rest of the Caribbean islands. That is a shame to see that we're still worshiping these people. So during that era of slavery, the money left the islands. During CBI program era, the money left the islands again. You want to tell me we are not, we can't control our own destiny? We're not smart enough to invest in our own country? You know, the Prime Minister and the AG fully responsible for what goes on in the Federation right now. The Prime Minister is the top dog, like they say, the top man, and the AG is his legal point man. Any legal issues to be handled with the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Attorney General is the full, he's the control man. He is the point man for the Prime Minister. He has to give the Prime Minister the real, truthful legal advice to benefit not only the Prime Minister, the Cabinet, whatever, but to benefit the country. But here we are. We have the situation here with Christoph Harbor. And when you follow the history and follow the money, like Chesley Hamilton said Saturday, when you follow the money, it's not looking good for the Federation. And we don't know how much other projects that's running right now, like this Christoph Harbor project, in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I'm going to put something there to all the people that's listening. You see that peninsula side of St. Kitts? Man, they may as well, all those persons who got land over there and who is controlling that region, a gate, they may as well put up a gate down there. The area which part is start getting skinny, they may as well put a gate up down there because guess what? Local people ain't going to be able to go up there. Or they may as well dredge it out and cut that peninsula off from the rest body of St. Kitts, because local people are not going to be able to own over there. You know, the information is coming out, and our government got to be transparent. They have to be transparent, because if they don't be transparent, the people are just going to vote them out in the next election. The electorates are getting real antsy. And I would advise the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to actually go in the street peacefully and protest about all of these shortcomings, because when people start getting angry, they're going to lash out. The people them needs to vent. They need to vent the frustration and the disappointment in the government.
Well, I was telling you to wrap up because we had another caller, but the caller has jumped out. But anyway, wrap up your point, please.
My point is that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis cannot let this stuff go on like this, because our leaders are faking out. They're faking us out. The Aspire program that the Prime Minister is talking about, having these kids invest, right? If this continues like this in St. Kitts and Nevis, then the kids, they're not going to get nothing out of anything. There will be no investment opportunities left for them. And I'm going to put it straight, man. The advisors that the Prime Minister has around him, they are not doing good for the country. They're just collecting a check. And if I was the Prime Minister coming in brand new, I would have come in with a brand new entourage. All of those old stunts, they would have had to pack up and go home. Brand new people would have been coming in with me. And for the rest of his term right now, if he doesn't shape up, he's going to be a one-term Prime Minister. He's got to be making a change for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. He has to do better than his predecessor that he keep referencing. He has to do better. Better must come for St. Kitts and Nevis, for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Has to do better. Better must come for St. Kitts and Nevis. The people are yearning for better treatment. The people, they expect that the leaders are going to make the change for them. People are going to have to unite and come together and hit the streets peacefully to enact that change, to demand that change. Man, Quint, we're going to be talking like this in the next 5-10 years. We don't see nobody who is coming forward out of the ashes. Everybody that's coming is looking to do the same thing. They're only trying to get in there and put their hands in them cookie jars. St. Kitts and Nevis is in a mess, man. I'm not going to lie about this, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. I'm not going to hold no water in my mouth. Persons in St. Kitts and Nevis who we are worshiping, like they're kings and queens, they all have committed treason to the Federation. Chris, I'm going to tell you, man, that Brian Claus needs to go. I'm not giving up my American citizenship to come home to none of this mess, because it's not guaranteed. All citizens should have the right to put their names on the ballot.
Burl, I told you to wrap up, but we have the other caller back again.
Okay, there may be somebody that can stay on maybe I can stay on the line. I'll let them talk, and I'll stay on.
Hello, caller.
I told you to wrap up. We have.
Hello, caller.
Something. Let me continue in the meantime until it chimes in.
No, wait. Well, it seems as if you're working as a tag team. It seems as if you're already it seems you're already a party here.
Yes. Okay, Quinn. Since that he's yielding to me, let me continue, please. This is what I'm going to say.
Yes, but Burl, I'm going to let you continue, but wrap it up.
Okay, in wrapping up, this is what I want to tell the St. Kitts and Nevis people. We are talking about progress and advancement for the Federation. One of the big things that they have been mentioning is a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis through the channels over there. But those persons who get control of the peninsula side of St. Kitts, they're going to also try to control those waterways. And the idea of building a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis, they better throw that idea away. If they're going to sell out and give away those lands over there on the peninsula of St. Kitts side, you're not going to have anybody owning them lands over there and going to allow the government to enact a bridge on their property. This is something I want the St. Kitts and Nevis people to understand. If the peninsula is sold out, then the bridge will never come. Or if it comes, the owners of those lands over there in the peninsula will be reaping the benefits more than the local government and the local people. In order for this system that we have in St. Kitts and Nevis to be broken, the Labour government that's in right now, their own Labour supporters will have to break their own party. We have to come up off of that party line. All of these national issues, the people of the Federation got to come together and break the system. And that's all I want to say today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Burl, I know you're passionate, but...
But see, he's not giving up anything because he's not guaranteed to
yeah,
win.
so there has to be a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can't guarantee anything in life.
You know?
So.
And to the one who's about to speak, when you form this party, sir, you're going to be the leader of the party?
Well, it depends. It depends on the other colleagues. Should that be and should needs be. I'm not forcing myself in. I am not a dictator to demand. It will have to be a sound heart and a sound mind. I'm not forceful about nothing.
I mean, I could be wrong. You know, because I'm only listening to you as you express. But I'm of, maybe you have some other capabilities that I'm not aware of. But so far, if I'm going to be a judge, Burl has been a better representative. He has expressed himself, and he's younger than you. So I would purport him to be the leader, and you be one assigned to his cabinet, as opposed to the other way around. Because
Burl's not going to run.
Yeah.
Because he's not giving up that blue book.
Yes, go ahead.
I respect your perspective, but guess what? Earl and I don't physically know each other. Earl and I met on the media, just like how we make our comments.
Yeah.
And ourselves align with each other. And I welcome him and he welcomed me. And sometime I could speak for him and he speaks for me. As he just spoke, I will affirm what he said. Okay? But we didn't have a conversation. But in the spirit and the mind, I foresee that from other experience. But let me get to my point. We got to be worried.
Before you get to your point, because you were on two occasions before, let the other caller go ahead. Hello, caller.
Yes, I acknowledge that.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Quinn. Good morning to you, Hortensia.
Morning.
Good day.
I wish to announce that I wish to break with the tradition and don't allow the 3-day or 9-day syndrome to affect my ability to deal with pertinent matters in the community, in the nation. And so I just wish to follow up on the Crystal Harbor development and the figures that are really not adding up. I listened to Dwyer's Astafan commentary. We look forward to that. Also, I listened to Dr. Timothy Harris, the former Prime Minister, spoke about the same matter. So this is not just a light matter. This is a matter for the heavyweight. And Prince, you did disclose on radio that you have had privy to what Dwyer Astafan has said before. And this was an opportune time for for our government. Bearing in mind the contract, the 20-year contract, might have expired or soon to expire, and this should have been so thought out going forward to see that in 2007, what was signed on to And imagine a 2 miles radius in our coastal waters was a part of the deal. That is egregious to know that we would have lost some of our coastal waters where the local fishermen would have been prohibited to fly their trade.
Africa, hold a while. Caller, the other caller, you're coughing significantly. I would admonish you when you're going to cough like that to don't let it be heard so consistently. I don't mind hearing it once, but consistently like that, definitely unprofessional. Go ahead, Africa. Africa, go ahead. Continue.
Yes, Quinn. This is not a light matter to me, and it is the reason why having privy to listening to Dwyer Astafan and Insider then disclosing these things to us in the nation. I don't take these things lightly. And that is why repeatedly, I try not to beat a dead horse, but I try to keep this thing alive throughout the time that I would have called in and I would have asked questions about this Christoph have a deal. Because it is not right. It is like an enclave on itself, to itself over there. And some callers did call and say, maybe our rude awakening is going to be when they try to put a gate over there. We don't need for it to come to that stage in that development. Because our government would have given them the impetus to do such. And I could tell you now, in 2019, 2020, when there was a pushback with the COVID, I really had to give the government, the administration back then, the team unity administration, I had to give them some verbal licking. Verbally, I beat them. I blazed some fire on them. And this administration, it's not going to be any different. So I am listening, I am watching the play, and I'm going to be relentless. I'm not going to allow the 3-day, 9-day syndrome to affect me and my ability to speak. Thanks for listening.
Okay, caller, you can go ahead now and try to be brief.
Brief, yes, thanks.
Yes.
And I apologize again for the coughing. Something I just smell or something and give me that allergy. Now, look, Brother Chris, all I'm saying, when people go into a deal, they must make a deal and have advisors and things that they might be curious of to be right, because this is what happened now, the ramification of reaping. But let me come to Daya Astafan. If Daya Astafan, I heard you said Daya Astafan gave you a copy or some kind of insight.
Not that he gave, not that he be very, I keep telling you, you want to be a leader of the country, you have to be very careful of how you state things. I said Dwyer Astafan, when he used to come here, allowed me to observe or be privy to the prior contract. I didn't say he gave me a copy. Be very careful.
It's in the same spirit. Probably I didn't make the statement right. I agree with that you said. So I take back what might be contrary. But look at it. If Dwyer Astafan had or still have that detail of what the deal was then, he should have known something was wrong. Why did they keep it secret? It's because the fire gets so hot.
But Dwyer didn't keep it. Dwyer did not keep it. If Dwyer, I told you, you must listen carefully. I mean, I told you Dwyer used to have a program here, and Dwyer,
he was part of the government then, was he?
No.
Exactly.
And he, I think he was aligned at the time with the unity government, right? But he was not part of the government before, because he was a part of the Labour Party and there was a falling out, and I think he either resigned or they got rid of him. I don't remember exactly what happened, but he wasn't a part of the Labour Party. That is why he became a part of the Unity Party, and then eventually they also had a falling out. But anyway, all of that is aside. The point is that he had the copy of the original contract and he was aggrieved by it. He felt that it was an atrocity. He felt that it should not have happened. And it happened under Denzel Douglas, and he was really annoyed with Denzel Douglas for going into that prior contract.
But who was listening?
That
Who
is,
was listening like we're listening today?
that is a
That's
question. That is a question
Yes,
that is up in the air. But he did bring it to the fore. He did let people know that he was aggrieved by the contract, and that is why I said recently that Dwyer is going to be he's going to be saying, well, the chickens have finally come home to roost.
To roost. Okay, I got you there. Let me move to something else. You see this environmental levy that being charged when a vehicle or automobile come into the Federation? That was something proposed in year 2001. No, 2000. Right? And a lot of people don't know the actual detail of that environmental levy. Right? And the environmental levy is depending on the age of a car, what will be the levy imposed upon such.
Caller.
I'm only telling you because
Wait. I want you, caller, listen to me. I want you to wrap up because you've been on numerous occasions and there's another caller waiting. So wrap up your point.
Okay. All I'm saying, things that should have mentioned back then and grievance that was involved, it was kept under a dark cloud. But all things that happened then, today, it's not going to continue to be in any darkness. The cloud will be clear. And to whom it's a concern, if you know something that is affected the country, speak out. Okay? Because we are all in this together, and at the end of the day, we are all going to feel the same effect and affected. I will yield here. But the way, let me jump back to Christoph Harbour and those lands over there. The way things going, Patches ain't going to get to build that bridge. Or that bridge not going to be come to life from Nevis to Celtic in that short distance. Because these private foreigners, they're going to take our lands and they're going to say, look, this is my land, I do what I need. Okay? But government should keep control and they should tear up those deals. Now it is toxic.
Caller. I'm gonna cut you because you have been abusing. Look, I'm a very consistent person. If I tell you to wrap up something, you keep going on.
What a pity.
Hello?
I don't know, maybe, well, caller, you dropped out. No. Nothing on our end. Do call back. Yes. So, like I was saying to that caller, and I noticed that Burl did it also, caller, and I noticed that Burl did it also. When I tell.
Hi.
Oh, good morning. How are you? Long time. You hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, well, it's a long time. My first question before I start, what happened to Jamster?
He's no longer with us.
Oh, okay. Let me continue. I don't want to stay too long. Now, what I have to say is that anyone right now who is trying to get into office, right? I would like to know, how do they intend to get money to run the affairs of the country? Because prior to 2015 or after, thereabouts, I have said that the CBI is our, inverted commas, our new export crop. And I have said that anybody who goes in that seat of administration is going to use that same CBI. Whether it is good or bad, they're going to use it. What else is there? So if anybody is going to go in, you have to come and show persons clearly how you intend to harness some sources, viable sources of income that you're going to use to run the country, the affairs of the country. Outside of that, it's still the same CBI, unless you're going to tax people to the hilt. And I am not in that. I am not in that, you know. Nobody is going to tax me and think that I am going to go on the street to prostitute myself to get money to pay for taxes when billions have passed through and nobody can give an account for it and nobody is held accountable for it. Nobody's going to do that to me, you know, as long as I am here. Next thing, with the Southeastern Peninsula, I have not really kept up to date with that and so on. But what I want to say is, if a small little man was in this country and doing as he likes, and nobody was harnessing him in or harnessing them in, they owe millions of dollars here, they owe millions of dollars there, they owe millions of dollars, and sometimes when a citizen owes maybe just $200, they are disconnected for millions of dollars, and nobody could have reined them in. And we have persons who are in quote-unquote leadership position, and nobody is showing any leadership, what should I say, any leadership qualities to do the honorable thing. Now, this one they say that have over there, or whatever, the marina or whatever, and they're saying now he owns trillions of dollars in assets worldwide. Well, it's him they're going to be able to harness in.
You know, caller.
Think about it.
You know, caller. Yes? And let me say welcome. I've heard you over the years. I've not heard you for a while.
Yeah.
It's refreshing to hear you back because you're one of the few voices who say it as you see it, as you feel it. So let me welcome you back. Now, this individual that we're speaking about, and the point that you made about harnessing him, it reminds me of the individual that we were trying to get here some time ago in relation to the marijuana stuff.
Aki Bob.
I'm not going to call any name, but anyway, we knew of his history, the arrogance of the man, and I sometimes wonder, why do our leaders do these things? If you have individuals like that person and the one involved in the Christoph Harbor, he has been to courts on many different times, owes here, as you said, owed here all over, yet living a lavish life of a multi-millionaire, big expensive yachts and all that kind of stuff. What do our
Sorry, Mr. Engineer?
Yes.
Sorry.
Go
I don't
ahead.
really want to cut you short, but I
Yes.
don't have many minutes. Let me
Go
just
ahead.
finish up and then I will listen to you after before I run.
Go ahead. Yes, that's okay.
Yes. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm certain that I heard that some debt that he had was written off prior,
Yes.
right? Written off prior. So when they had the calculations about close to $25 million that they got out of the deal, I don't understand what that is. Did they revisit what was written off? Listen. Anyways, I listen. The thing about it is, right, a lot of things happen, and me personally, I do not agree with it, because I think before certain things happen, the citizens should be brought into it. Don't just put a meeting out there to say town hall and you already know what you want done, and you're only just going just to say, that you're doing something to hear what the person said, but you already know what you're going to do. And then in the end, everybody is just wrapped up as though, everybody gave they agreed for it to happen. It is not so. This is not good at all. This is not good at all. I have already said, that I was never in favor of the CBI, never before, not now, and not after. And many people were jumping hip hip hooray, and they had all kind of things. And I'm surprised to hear how many people right now here talking about how they were not in favor and so on. And many of them, nobody heard their voices before. A lot of people were in favor of it.
Yeah.
We looked at it and we said, in the end, because I said it, if they want to use this to damage this country, any one of them out there want to damage this country, it is the CBI they're going to use, because who is doing the due diligence? It's not us. And we can't go and do that because we don't know them. And even if a case like that, they're not going to release any information about their own to us, right? And you have to now use them to do that. And you see what is happening? I am not surprised. I saw all of this before it happened. But anyway, have a blessed day. I will continue to listen for as long as I can before I run.
Yes.
Have a blessed day.
Same
Thank
to
you for
you.
calling.
Let me breathe a sigh of just trying to relieve some stress, because you wonder what goes through the minds of our leaders. When it comes to the CBI, it's so wrapped up in things that shouldn't happen. For instance, the main sellers of the CBI aren't locals, The main agents are abroad. So when Burl says that these monies keep going out, it is true. What the governments get is a percentage of whatever the deal is. These individuals set the price. If when they got into this rat race, to see who could sell the most, they deflated the price, and it was, and all the government seemed to be concerned about was getting their end of the deal, not seeming to realize that it was heading downhill, and that somewhere along the way it was going to end up in the conundrum that it is presently. Hello, caller?
Yes, hello?
Hi.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me say a few things very quickly as I can. Number one, well, I'm going to say again, we need to become a republic and we need to get out the British Commonwealth. I want to see that happen. Okay, that's number one. Number two, now, like I said before, the Bible telling Exodus 18 verse 21, make sure when you pick your leaders, they have a track record of people who fear God, people who hate bribes, and so on and so on. And another part of the Bible says, bribes blind people eyes. Bribes blind people eyes and judgment. Now, where this CBI thing is concerned, I, for one, by the grace of God used to have me to call in while employed by government during the Douglas time. Even then, by the grace of God, God had me to call in by His Spirit to disagree with the CBI thing. So God has been using me a long time. I for one, wasn't keeping quiet about it. I, for one, even during the Douglas administration, by the grace and Spirit of God, was speaking out against the CBI program. But this Christoph Harbour thing, again, let me say, the government is depending on us to speak for 9 days. Because the other day, Dwyer brought up an issue, and no longer after it be died down. People were talking about it for a time, and 9 days it died down. And they're expecting us and relying on us again to just speak for 9 days. But I want to show that the government, because this happened under Douglas, and I would have liked to know the date of the contract. But this happened under Douglas. Unity came in, and now you have the Labour government again coming. But I'll show you how they protect each other. They protect each other because if they were really serious, at least the Unity government and this one again, they would have published the contract online and make it fully public for everybody to see and make it a big discussion. But none of them did that. So they're protecting each other. And not only that, they have other things to publish too. They ain't just this, they have other things that ought to be published so the public could know the nonsense and the sellouts and what's not that have gone down in the past. But they ain't doing these things because they're protecting each other. They're only costing each other, but they're really protecting each other in the end. We need to learn that one as well. And lastly, I would like to say, I went up the infirmary, the poorhouse, on the weekend, Saturday namely. And when I was up the poorhouse, I saw a breadfruit tree up there, string off a breadfruit. And I said to one of the persons inside there, one of the patients, I don't know what word to use, that were inside there. Our residents that were inside the infirmary at the poorhouse. So I would think that you are getting breadfruit regularly to eat. The person told me, well, we only get breadfruit now and then in soup, now and then. Because people just come in the yard and go with the breadfruit. And not only that, but a few months ago, it happened in this year, a fella came in with a bag and full up the bag of breadfruit. But they're in there only at best getting breadfruit to eat once in a while in soup. And I said, no, that's not right. That's not right, because that breadfruit tree should be serving the people of the infirmary, should be serving the people of the hospital, the food meal program, and whoever else government has feeding. People should not be going in the yard, going with breadfruit, and somebody going with a bag, pulling up a bag of breadfruit, and the people in the infirmary only getting breadfruit every now and then, and just in the soup. Breadfruit should be given all kind of, because breadfruit could be cooking rice, breadfruit could be cooked all kind of how. And they should be getting it regularly, because they have a big tree up there, string off a breadfruit.
And
I was very sad to hear that.
One of the things that we use a lot in our region is Irish potato. But
Yes.
breadfruit can be used instead of Irish potato, and it is much more nutritious.
Yes. But it grieves my heart to hear that who getting the most out of the breadfruit and not the people them in there. But people who are going in there, and like I said, a fella went up there, I was told by the same person, pull off a bag of breadfruit. But people who are in there, only now and then they're getting some breadfruit and soup. And I think that really grieved me heart a lot. And I said that I'd wanted to bring up the issue that management need to tell us, hey, this breadfruit tree is for the people of the infirmary, the hospital, the school meal program, and whoever else the government have to feed, and nobody else.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, that makes sense. Just leave the people's breadfruit alone. Just know that in there has residents that need the food.
Yeah.
Why are you going? Go somewhere else.
and
Plant your own breadfruit. Like, leave the
breadfruit.
people's stuff alone.
Someone was saying to me quite recently, there was a time when breadfruit used to be, as we say colloquially, knocking dog, you know, but not now, you know.
Yeah. You didn't hear Unexpected Song, Plant Back Everything?
No,
Yeah, he
I
said
didn't.
plant back the breadfruit. Plant them back.
Yeah.
When he had his whole song. You know them, Love Me Some
And
Unexpected.
you know, I'm a
yeah.
big fan of an unexpected. I was going up a street in town just recently, and I heard his voice. He may have been working in a building in that proximity, and I heard his voice, and I remember thinking to myself, I wonder if he's working on a calypso or if it's a new. So maybe it's the calypso that you're referring to, right?
It's a new-
That's an old one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that one came the year after we had Jam in One Spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I
It's
heard
nice like
him.
to hear him, you know.
Yeah.
He
Very,
makes a lot
very
of sense.
witty. Very
Yes, that's the thing. He makes plenty sense. But he said
Yes.
he told us to plant back everything. Once it's time to plant them back. We hardly see breadfruit trees, much as breadnut trees. Like, everything's just going to the dogs. And I notice, I don't know if you know, Quint, but Guyana's election is slated for September the 1st of this year. And the president is just out and about, you know, all the election gimmicks.
Yeah.
Doing a ton load of this. And when he passing out housing lot, he's making 20,000 acres of land available to farmers. He's going to install 2 drying plants in the area, because it looked like these farmers are going to do paddy for rice.
Yeah.
So he's investing in agriculture heavily. So I said, look at this. It takes election for... I know Guyana does heavy agriculture, but it's always some gimmicks around election. He even says if his administration is re-elected, he'll ensure that agricultural loans interest go down from 12%, you know, to 3.5 or 4%. So he has to be re-elected. So those farmers have to work hard to get him re-elected to ensure that their agro loans can go down.
And then when they're elected, these plants that they make just keep getting pushed back, and
well, you
they
see,
never
that's what
come
I
to
hope
fruition.
not,
most
but
of
it's
them.
just how they speak a good talk prior to elections, and then we end
Yeah.
up in a pot of boiling water. Yeah, all of them talk a good talk, the good things. that everybody wants to hear, and then we go in and we just don't do. But the fact, and the caller, Mr. Welcome, keep talking about the eminent domain and all of that, where the government could take public property, take private property and make it public. But was that part of the contract? Because we don't know the contract.
Whether or not it was part of the contract, it's easy for you to use terms and phrases and say eminent. I notice a lot of people, individuals, are using that eminent domain. You can use that eminent domain, and depending, it can be contested in court, and you can, it can be rolled back. But yes, the government do have that recourse, but still you just can't just get up and do it willy-nilly. Because remember, we live in a democracy, okay? So, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know the the particulars, or we don't know the contract. Well, I don't know the contract. Let me not say we, because who knows. Somebody's on? Okay.
There's a phone in here.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be the last caller. Oh. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Paul went over here. Yeah. What I was talking about was the Crystal Faber thing. I saw something over the weekend which proposed to be an agreement between the SIDF and the previous owners of the Crystal Faber project. And basically, in the section that said purpose of loan, they called it, okay, and it was $13 million from the SIDF, okay? The purpose of loan was essentially to pay on a loan from Bank of America so that a lien could be removed. Now, if that is an actual document, a bona fide document, I mean, that is really treacherous. In other words, I mean, we're accustomed to hearing that, investors come here without money and we give them money to develop this, etc., etc. But this is even worse. It isn't that they're even the purpose was to further development of the area, but essentially to pay on a loan overseas that made from an overseas bank. And if this document is false, right? Then I would like somebody to come out and actually release the real, the authentic document from the SIDF. And that is one of the basic problems we've been having. All the governments have been secretive. This is something that we should know. And all the governments then and now, right, seem to be keeping these things close to the chest, as if it's some matter of national security. This is not a matter of national security. You're talking about prime real estate in the country that belongs to all of us. It don't belong to any particular government, right? And you are going to tell me that you're going to keep whatever you negotiated, whatever proposal, whatever agreement, secret from the people. It's not your own private thing to keep secret, right? I mean, how this could happen, I don't know. And how it could continue to happen, I don't know either. Right? Because when you're in opposition, you rail against it, and when you get in, you go and do the same thing. We do not know the extent of we don't know the agreement of this current marina sale. We don't know how much it was sold for. Okay? We don't know if we got a good deal or not.
Caller.
And then what the most disturbing part is when they come and tell us that we're being transparent and open and so on, and they know they are not. They're fooling the people.
Mr. McMahon, here's what I would ask you to do. Socrates is going to be on next. His program is coming up, and he's gonna get into the very same topic, so you can call in then and continue. Okay.
Okay, I'll do that if I can get in. Power has not come back yet, so I'm using my cell phone.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Okay.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your contributions as usual.
Thanks for your contributions as usual. This is a hot topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we may never get to the bottom of it, but let's hear what Brother Socrates has to offer.
Yeah.
So I definitely have to try to listen there.
Yeah. We're going to take a break, let Socrates get set up, and we'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
This Father's Day weekend at Builders Paradise, we've got big deals for dad and low prices for all. Yes, we've got a massive 25% off store-wide on all discountable items.